Alright, I just want to tell you something. Whoever's watching this on YouTube, this is a Ford 9-inch. It's a 9-inch diff. Now the problem with the 9-inch diff is because they've got this pilot bearing on the pinion has a shaft, and they've got this bearing in there. It's a pilot bearing. Because when the crown wheel is pushing on the pinion head, when you accelerate, these bearings in here are so close together, these two tapered roller bearings. There's one on the pinion in there. I don't know if you can see, but in there, look, I'll show you on this one. See here, there's one in there and there's one in there. Two tapered roller bearings, and they're very close. So they have to have this pilot bearing to take the thrust because they're so close. Now, instead of doing this stupid shit, which restricts the size of this carrier because it has to miss all this bullshit, you cut all this out, cut that off the head of the pinion, so the pinion is just flat like this, for example, and there's no pilot on the end of the pinion, and have the bearing, have this flange about this thick, and then all this bullshit on this flange here, you cut off, and you make this bearing housing longer. So there's a bearing in there, tapered roller bearing on the pinion, and then the other one's here instead of in there. So that's longer apart. The longer you have these bearings, the more thrust they can take. Because they're so fucking close together, the two tapered roller bearings, they have to have this thrust bearing, which fucks up the carrier size. You see how this pinion, the bearings are there, and look how far it is. All the way here's the next bearing. Look at that distance. That distance from the two bearings compared to that distance.